Aren't video games great? They're a fun way to pass the time, hang out with friends, and visit new and exciting worlds. Hi, my name's Brady Rogers, and video games have been my favorite pastime since I was like 3 or 4. 3, I think. Maybe 4? I don't know. I've never really been that good at online games. Exceptionally mediocre, I would say. Knowing this has more or less pushed me into playing mostly single-player games. By myself. Alone. All alone. Just by myself. Anyway, video games for me have always mostly been about the worlds I'm able to visit and the stories I'm able to experience. I know video games aren't generally hailed for their crazy deep stories, but story-driven single-player games so often tend to be my favorite kinds of games. Video games are able to do one thing really well that traditional media like movies and TV really just can't. Instead of watching the main character fight an alien on screen, you're playing a giant space marine fighting hordes of aliens. Video games put the player in control. Take Knights of the Old Republic, for example. Arguably one of the best Star Wars games in terms of story that you'll ever find out there. KOTOR is one of my favorite examples of putting the player in the shoes of the main character. If you've played the game, you likely know what I'm talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then I highly recommend you just stop the video, play all of KOTOR, then come back. Seriously though, spoiler alert. You've been warned. Huge spoilers ahead. When you begin playing KOTOR, in classic early 2000s video game fashion, you wake from a deep sleep and you're thrust into a battle. Cool. The two antagonists, Darth Revan and Darth Malak, are set up almost immediately, but to the player they're mostly just names. The entire story is foreshadowed by this sort of force dream of some Jedi fighting this masked Sith. The Sith gets knocked unconscious and the dream ends. Then there's a whole bunch more adventure, one of the most boring opening planets ever, seriously. It's a Star Wars game. I want a lightsaber. In the entire opening planet, I'm stuck with these stupid katana things and some blasters. What is this? I'm getting off track. KOTOR and games like it are able to build this sort of special connection to the side characters and squad mates that you never get from a movie. In role-playing games like KOTOR, you are part of the team. For the entire opening section of the game, you constantly hear about this awesome Jedi named Bastila. Once you arrive on the first world of Terrace, you have to find and save Bastila. So by the time you actually get to her, you've built it up in your head, you've heard enough about her that there's already a certain bond that's starting to form. Meanwhile, the entire time you're on Terrace, you're working together with Karth and forming a relationship there through the battles that you've fought together. These types of things are not possible through traditional media. In a movie, you aren't there with the characters. You're watching passively. By actively participating in the conflict, you naturally form a bond with your squad. Some characters more than others, obviously, depending on who you are as the player, but you're still forming a bond with your squad. To me, this is what makes video games so special. By the end of the first half of the game, you have so many questions about the universe. You're told that you're force sensitive, you train to become a Jedi, finally get that lightsaber you've been waiting for. At the end of the second act of the game, the player and their companions are introduced to Darth Malak, face to face for the first time, an inevitable meeting of the protagonist and the antagonist. But what gets revealed to the player is startling to say the least.
The Jedi do not believe in killing their prisoners. No one deserves execution, no matter what their crimes.
The Council would not normally accept an adult for training, but this is a special case.
They say the Force can do terrible things to a mind. It can wipe away your memories and destroy your very identity.
What greater weapon is there than to turn an enemy to your cause, to use their own knowledge against them?
You are Darth Revan. During your battle with the Jedi above Terrace, you were knocked unconscious when Darth Malak, your apprentice, opened fire on your starship and betrayed you. The Jedi then wiped your memory and retrained you as a Jedi once more. What an absolutely amazing twist. But what really makes KOTOR unique and special is that the twist is about who you, as the player, really are. All the dots have connected, and now that you know who you really are, your entire perspective has changed. The story instantly becomes personal. Now, you're a key part of the conflict, instead of some Jedi that was just wrapped up in everything. And from here, you get to decide whether or not to fall back into the shoes of the Dark Lord you once were, or continue on your fresh start as a pure Jedi. In video games, the player is in control, and that is what separates games from other types of media. KOTOR is one of those games that takes advantage of this from a story perspective and creates a truly special experience. If KOTOR was a movie, the twists still may work, but not to the extent that it does when the player is in control of Revan, when the player is Revan. I would actually really like to see more games take advantage of this. Knights of the Old Republic is a game that I have extremely fond memories of, and replaying it for this video has been an absolute joy. The gameplay can be a bit boring at times, but the story and the world building continues to hold up and be a magical experience. Alright, that was the first episode of Story Mode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been working on this show and developing what this whole concept was for like 3 or 4 years, on and off. I was really excited to get this thing going. KOTOR is one of my favorite games that I've played, probably ever. It's just one of the most enjoyable experiences that I've ever had, and I wanted to delve into why that experience was really so special. Maybe you guys agree with me, maybe you don't. Either way, I'd love to hear what you think in the comments section down below. For more nerdy, weird content like this, you can follow me on Twitter and Facebook. I also have my main channel where I do like outdoorsy kind of vlog stuff, which isn't entirely video gamey at all, but it's something a little different. It's something about who I am. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching the first episode of Story Mode. If you like what you see, feel free to subscribe. There's going to be more content like this. I'm going to try and make these on a semi-regular basis as much as I can. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode. And if you have any ideas what the next episode should be, maybe drop them in the comment section. All right. Take care.